For 60 years, Matilda Donnell Maury kept a secret, forced upon her by military orders, silence about what she witnessed at Roswell. But now, after decades of government cover-up, she has broken her silence. Who was Matilda? What did she see? And why has her story divided believers and skeptics alike? Let's explore. Before we dive into Matilda's incredible revelations, let me set the stage for those who might not be familiar with the Roswell Incident. The Roswell case is one of the most complex cases in the history of ufology, and there's a lot of misinformation that simply isn't true, invented stories that end up hindering real investigations. In 1947, something strange fell in the desert near the town of Roswell, in the American state of New Mexico. This incident doesn't have a convincing explanation to this day. There are conflicting accounts, numerous theories, and versions of the same event. Was it an extraterrestrial spacecraft? Was it an experimental plane crash? Was it a weather balloon? The official story has changed multiple times over the decades, which only fuels more speculation and conspiracy theories. What we know for certain is that the military quickly cordoned off the crash site, removed all debris, and issued conflicting statements to the press. First, they announced the recovery of a flying disc. Then, within hours, they retracted that statement and claimed it was merely a weather balloon. This rapid change in the official narrative immediately raised suspicions. Why would trained military personnel initially misidentify a common weather balloon as a flying disc? Why the sudden reversal? These questions have haunted researchers for nearly 8 decades. The incident might have remained a footnote in history if not for the witnesses who came forward years later, claiming the official story was a cover-up. Among these witnesses, Matilda Donnell Maury's testimony stands out as perhaps the most detailed and controversial account ever recorded. Have you heard about the Roswell event? Comment and chat with me. Next, we'll examine the astonishing claims of one witness whose story could alter everything. The most popular hypothesis about the Roswell incident suggests that an alien spaceship crashed in the desert, possibly due to a technical malfunction or interference from military radar. The crew reportedly died, and U.S. armed forces allegedly collected the wreckage, secured the bodies, and captured a sole survivor. This scenario has been depicted in many movies, books, and documentaries, such as Independence Day's famous scene with alien bodies examined in a secret facility. A key question remains. After nearly 80 years, has any government official, informant, or witness come forward? Some claim yes. One notable witness is military nurse Matilda Donnell Maury, who said she was present, participated in autopsies, and interacted with the survivor. She also claimed to have had prolonged telepathic communication with a living extraterrestrial, making her testimony extraordinary. If her claims are accurate, the Roswell incident might represent one of the greatest cover-ups in history, involving recovered alien technology, evidence of extraterrestrial life, and a government-level conspiracy. According to her, conversations revealed Earth's place in a galactic civilization, humanity's origins, and a more complex role for our planet than previously imagined. If you want to see Apollo 11 astronauts reveal chilling secrets about the mission to the far side of the moon, I've also added a direct link to it in the pinned comment below this video. And don't forget to come back. The next exploration is about why such a revealing account was kept secret for so long. Matilda reportedly shared her story and sent some intriguing materials to writer Lawrence Spencer. In a letter, she hinted that serious consequences befell those involved in keeping certain information confidential over many years. She wrote, "Only a very few people on Earth were privy to what I observed and kept under wraps for 6 decades. Reflect on the meaning of those words." Matilda suggests that some individuals may have suffered to maintain this secret, and that powerful interests might have taken significant steps to keep the full story about Roswell from becoming public. This idea goes well beyond common explanations like experimental aircraft or weather balloons, implying something more profound. Spencer assembled these materials and published the book Alien Interview in 2008, which has been translated into several languages. The book reportedly contains Matilda's letters, official transcripts, and photographs connected to the event. However, this raises several questions. If the book has been available since 2008, why hasn't it gained widespread attention? Why have major news outlets largely overlooked it? Why didn't Matilda participate in public interviews? Why is there such limited discussion about the topic, even among dedicated UFO researchers? This noticeable quietness is surprising, considering the extraordinary nature of the claims. A first-hand account of unusual phenomena and extended communication with an otherworldly presence would be expected to spark significant interest. Some observers interpret this quietness as a sign of ongoing discretion, while others view it as a reason to question the story's reliability. Even within the UFO community, many express serious reservations about the timing, trustworthiness, and lack of independent confirmation of her version of events. Looking closely at Matilda's detailed description of the weeks in 1947, it remains unclear whether this is an important historical testimony or a carefully crafted tale that taps into our fascination with mysteries beyond our understanding. Tap the like button to let us know this content is making a difference. And if you're watching on your phone, be sure to press the hype button right below. Every hype helps this video get published to more people, and it truly supports me in earning extra income. I promise to keep bringing you even more great content. But what secrets lie hidden in those classified transcripts, and why have they remained buried for so long? First, who was Matilda Donnell Roy? She held the rank of Senior Master Sergeant in the Air Force Medical Division. She was only 23 years old, and she would have received the biggest challenge in the entire history of medicine, participating in the medical care of extraterrestrial biological entities. Picture this young woman, barely out of her teens, suddenly thrust into a situation that would challenge everything humanity thought it knew about life in the universe. According to her account, she went from being a routine military nurse to becoming humanity's first xenobiologist practically overnight. Matilda initially acted as a driver for a high-ranking military officer sent to investigate the Roswell incident. But Matilda said she was also selected for her nursing skills, and perhaps more importantly, for her psychological profile. The military needed someone who could remain calm under extraordinary circumstances and maintain absolute secrecy. Matilda reported that she saw two bodies on the ground next to the crash site, two clearly non-human bodies. One of them was dead, but the other was still alive and conscious. In fact, according to Matilda, this being was far more conscious and aware than any human she had ever encountered. This is where her story takes a turn that many find difficult to accept. According to Matilda, this conscious alien had established a telepathic link with her. Not with the military officers, not with the scientists, but with her, a 23-year-old nurse from a small town. Why her? Matilda believed it was because she approached the being without fear or aggression. While the military personnel saw a potential threat or a specimen to be studied, Matilda saw an injured patient who needed care. This fundamental difference in approach, she claimed, made her the ideal candidate for communication. From that point on, Matilda became a driver, a nurse, and an interrogator for the armed forces all at the same time. She was given unprecedented access to the most classified operation in military history. Her security clearance was elevated to levels that most career officers never achieve. Matilda recounted that she was promoted and that her salary literally doubled as a result. The government wanted her in constant contact with the survivor. They recognized that she had established a unique communication channel that could provide invaluable intelligence about extraterrestrial technology, biology, and intentions. She also revealed that all the conversations she had with the survivor were recorded and documented. Every telepathic exchange was transcribed by military stenographers. Every piece of information was cataloged and filed away in what would become one of the most classified archives in government history. These files, according to Matilda, were eventually sent to Lawrence Spencer for him to compile into the book. That's why the book is called Alien Interview. It's supposedly based on actual transcripts of these telepathic conversations between a human nurse and an extraterrestrial being. One of Matilda's most surprising claims is that the surviving alien was female. Her name was Airl, pronounced with sounds Matilda found difficult because they don't exist in human languages. According to Matilda, Airl communicated via telepathy because she didn't have a mouth to speak with. This raises interesting questions about alien biology and evolution. How might a species develop without vocal communication? How would they eat or express emotions? Here's another revelation challenging our concept of life. Matilda described the alien's physical body as irrelevant, more like a biological drone piloted by Airl's consciousness. She called it a doll body. If true, this suggests that life and consciousness tied to a physical form may be just one possibility. Airl's species might have evolved beyond permanent bodies, able to inhabit different forms as easily as changing clothes. This doll body concept could explain why Airl seemed unconcerned about her physical condition, The body was just a tool or vehicle for consciousness, capable of transferring if damaged or destroyed. Airl reportedly said she was part of an advanced expeditionary force with a base in the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter. Earth was not a random stop, but part of an organized mission by a civilization monitoring our planet for thousands of years. She did not disclose her race's origin or the full mission, reportedly wary of Earth's military and the potential misuse of knowledge. Still, Airl gave hints of a very old civilization, far older and more advanced technologically and spiritually than humanity, with a goal of progress, not merely technological but something broader. In the letters that Matilda sent to the writer, there were also the following excerpts. Quote, "Earth is a small planet on the edge of a star in the galaxy. This makes Earth geographically very isolated from the more concentrated planetary civilizations that exist closer to the center of the galaxy. These obvious facts made Earth suitable only for use as a zoo or botanical garden, or as a prison. According to Airl's revelations, Earth is essentially the cosmic equivalent of a maximum security penitentiary. We're not talking about a regular planet that happened to develop life. We're talking about a deliberately chosen location, isolated and remote, perfect for containing unwanted beings from across the galaxy. This concept completely reframes human history and our understanding of our place in the universe. If Airl's information is accurate, then Earth isn't humanity's natural home, it's our prison. We're not the indigenous species of this planet. We're the descendants of exiles, criminals, and undesirables from advanced civilizations throughout the galaxy. According to Airl, prisoners from all over the universe were sent to Earth approximately 30,000 years ago. They were aliens considered criminals or beings who didn't fit the values of what she called the Old Empire. These weren't necessarily violent criminals in the way we understand crime. Many were political dissidents, free thinkers, artists, and spiritual leaders who challenged the authoritarian control of the galactic government. Think about what this means for human nature. Our tendency toward creativity, rebellion, independence, and questioning authority isn't a flaw in our character. It's evidence of our true heritage. We're the descendants of beings who refuse to conform to a totalitarian galactic society. This prison planet theory also explains many of the mysteries that have puzzled anthropologists and historians for centuries. Why did human civilization suddenly advance so rapidly after hundreds of thousands of years of slow development? Why do we have myths and legends from every culture describing gods who came from the sky? Why do ancient texts contain descriptions of technology that shouldn't have existed? The answer, according to Airl, is that these weren't myths. They were memories, fragmented recollections of our true origins, passed down through generations and gradually transformed into religious and cultural stories. But the prison planet concept goes deeper than just explaining human origins. Airl suggested that Earth continues to function as a prison through sophisticated control mechanisms that most humans never recognize. These aren't physical bars and walls. They are psychological and spiritual barriers that keep us trapped in cycles of ignorance, conflict, and limitation. The amnesia that affects every human at birth isn't natural. It's artificially induced to prevent us from remembering our true nature and origins. The constant wars, the economic systems that keep most people struggling for survival, the religious and political divisions that prevent unity, these aren't accidents of human nature. They're deliberate control mechanisms designed to keep the prison population manageable. Airl explained that the beings who run this prison system have a vested interest in keeping humanity ignorant and divided. A unified, awakened human population would pose a threat to their control, so they maintain systems that ensure we remain focused on survival rather than spiritual and technological advancement. This revelation puts a completely different perspective on human suffering and the challenges we face as a species. We're not struggling because we're inherently flawed or because life is naturally difficult. We're struggling because we're living in a carefully designed prison system that's meant to keep us contained and controlled. Matilda couldn't bear the weight of the secret anymore. She was over 80 years old and felt she had nothing left to lose. The fear was gone. Imagine carrying this knowledge for 6 decades, knowing that humanity's understanding of the universe might be fundamentally wrong, yet being unable to share that truth. Imagine watching wars, suffering, and ignorance continue while holding information that could potentially change everything. The psychological burden must have been enormous. Matilda had sworn an oath of secrecy to the military, but she believed humanity deserved to know what she witnessed. Nearing the end of her life, the conflict between her duty as a soldier and her responsibility as a human being became unbearable. According to the story, She contacted writer Lauren Spencer to reveal everything she knew. Spencer said their only contact was a single 20-minute phone call. After that, Matilda disappeared for a decade with no further communication or verification of her identity. In 2007, Spencer received a package containing letters, interview transcripts, and photographs allegedly related to the Roswell incident. The package arrived without a return address or any way to contact Matilda for clarification. Spencer then possessed what could be significant documents but lacked any means to prove their authenticity. After the book's release in 2008, Matilda reportedly died, and Spencer said he destroyed all original evidence to protect her identity and prevent government retaliation. This left only the book as proof, with no way to independently verify any claims. Spencer admitted he couldn't prove Matilda Donnelly ever existed. This destruction of evidence raises questions. If genuine, these documents would be an invaluable historical discovery. Destroying them would be like burning the original Declaration of Independence. Spencer's reasons for keeping the secret remain speculative, and much about the story remains unverified. The thing is, Spencer gave several interviews after the book's publication, and never again mentioned that the book might be a work of fiction. This is very curious, because much of what Airl recounts in the book is actually extremely similar to the concepts preached by Scientology. The idea of Earth as a cosmic prison, the concept of doll bodies, or artificial physical forms, the notion of an ancient galactic civilization, the belief in suppressed spiritual abilities, all of these elements are central to Scientology doctrine. And here's the crucial detail. Lawrence Spencer was a member of Scientology for decades before leaving the organization. This connection to Scientology immediately raises red flags for researchers. Scientology was founded by science fiction writer L. Ron Hubbard, who explicitly stated that the best way to make money was to start a religion. The organization has a long history of creating elaborate fictional narratives and presenting them as revealed truth. The similarities between Airl's revelations and Scientology teachings are too numerous and specific to be coincidental. The terminology, the cosmology, the spiritual concepts, even the narrative structure of gradual revelation through a trusted intermediary, all mirror Scientology's approach to indoctrination. This story became highly suspicious to serious UFO researchers, and several investigators went looking for answers. What they discovered were numerous inconsistencies that cast serious doubt on the authenticity of Matilda's testimony. In the text supposedly written in 1947, Matilda uses terms that didn't exist at that time, such as computer and database. These are anachronisms that suggest the documents were written much later than claimed, by someone familiar with modern technology. One of the documents in the book shows the date as 9/7/1947, formatted as July 9th. But no American writes dates in that format. Americans use the month/day/year format, so an American would have written 7/09, not 9/07. The 9/07 format is used in Britain and other countries, which suggests the documents were written by someone outside the United States. Since Spencer is British, this formatting error points directly to him as the likely author of the documents. It's the kind of mistake that someone might make when trying to forge American military documents without being familiar with American date conventions. There are more serious problems with the military details. Matilda claims to have been a senior master sergeant in the Air Force in 1947. But that rank wasn't created until 1958, 11 years after the alleged events. This is a fundamental error that no genuine military nurse from that period would make. Furthermore, the United States Air Force itself wasn't officially created as a separate branch of the military until September 1947, months after the Roswell incident. Before that, military aviation was part of the Army Air Forces. A real military nurse from 1947 would have identified herself as Army, not Air Force. Researchers also examined the photographs presented in the book, which supposedly show military personnel involved in the Roswell recovery. The uniforms and insignia shown are inconsistent with 1947 military standards. The officer ranks displayed don't match Matilda's descriptions of the personnel involved. Most damning of all, investigators searched through actual military records of personnel stationed at Roswell Army Airfield in 1947. They found no record of anyone named Matilda Donnelly. No service record, no personnel file, no mention in any official document from that period. Matilda Donnelly's story has been criticized as a fabrication. Physicist Bill Ryan called it a fraud that dishonors genuine UFO witnesses. Such false claims harm the credibility of serious researchers trying to uncover the truth about unexplained aerial phenomena. The UFO field struggles with credibility because it attracts both sincere investigators and hoaxers, making it harder for legitimate cases to gain respect. Regardless of its truth, Matilda's tale reveals our fascination with alien contact and government cover-ups, a search for meaning in a chaotic world. The idea of secret knowledge and hidden agendas appeals to those feeling powerless, while government distrust fuels belief in cover-ups. However, false stories can mislead people and distort worldviews. The connection of Matilda's story to Scientology raises concerns about ideological motives and exploitation. Its release coincided with renewed UFO interest, suggesting a bid to capitalize on public curiosity rather than reveal new facts. This case highlights the need for critical thinking and demanding strong evidence. While some UFO cases involve credible witnesses and unexplained phenomena, unverified testimonies like Matilda's should be treated skeptically. Healthy skepticism means following evidence wherever it leads, even against our biases. The Roswell incident remains mysterious, with credible witnesses and odd military actions deserving ongoing investigation. But Matilda's account appears fictional, likely created to promote ideology and sell books. Ultimately, we must balance open-mindedness with rigor, guarding against hoaxes that distract from genuine inquiry. The search for truth about UFOs and possible extraterrestrial contact demands honesty and evidence above all. What do you think? Could Matilda's story hold some truth? Or is it purely fiction? How should we handle extraordinary claims moving forward? Share your thoughts below, and don't forget to subscribe for more explorations of fact and fiction in the world of the unexplained. Thanks for being with us. Leave a comment, like to show your support, and remember to hit that subscribe button for more exciting videos. See you next time.